ratio.
Yeah.
That is a good ratio.
Alexander, we good? Yeah.
I had
The flags there.
friends that they went, I think it was, Germany, whatever, and the river was in flood.
Oh.
And so,
Can go wrong.
so
Yeah.
they had to bust them, yeah, because they went halfway through the cruise, and then the captain said they couldn't go any further.
No, it's hard to,
Yeah, so then they moved them hopscotch up the river.
yeah, it's. You
And gave
lose a
them a
lot.
credit on the next cruise.
Oh, yeah. We're good? Oh, I can take this one. Good evening, everyone. My name is Virginia Harger. I'm the chair of the Shelton Planning and Zoning Commission. Today is Wednesday, April 16th, 2025, and the special meeting of the commission being conducted in Shelton City Hall and via Zoom is hereby called to order at 6:01 p.m. This meeting is also being carried live on YouTube. Would everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God,
indivisible.
justice for all. Thank you, everyone. I'll start off with a roll call of the commission. Please verbally indicate you're present when your name is called. Commissioner Kelly,
Present.
Commissioner Cristiano,
Present.
Commissioner Parkins,
Present.
Commissioner Motto. Here. Commissioner Tiki,
Present.
alternate Commissioner McGee. Not there. Myself, Commissioner Harger, Ms. Castro, our Assistant Administrator. Present. Mr. Dominic DeGangi, our Professional Engineer.
Present.
Ms. Sarah Vernalsos, our Recording Secretary.
Present.
Ms. Stephanie Charbonneau, our Stenographer.
Present.
Okay, and for the record, alternate Commissioner Opel is not available for this evening's meeting. Before we go into the agenda, I just have a quick comment. On behalf of the commission, I'd like to extend sincere condolences to our city's Corporation Counsel, Francis Teodoso, and his family on the very unexpected passing of Attorney Teodoso's brother, Anthony, this past Monday. Attorney Teodoso expressed to me some very poignant words earlier today. Anthony was a very special person in my life. He was a brother, a second father, a friend, and my rock. Funeral services will be held next Monday and Tuesday, and complete information can be found on the Riverview and at Zima websites. So a couple of points before continuing with this evening's agenda. Ms. Castro will act as a Zoom meeting host, while commissioners will be able to make comments throughout the meeting. The chair asks that you please identify yourself and wait to be recognized before speaking to make sure we are not all speaking over each other and to make sure our recording secretary is clear as to who is speaking. Has alternate Commissioner McGee joined us yet? No. Okay, just give me a heads up. Oh. Our first agenda item is other business. A zoning enforcement report from our zoning inspector, Mr. Ron Baya. Come on up to the front, Mr. Baya. And you have the floor.
You have the floor, huh?
Yes. Can't keep it.
Can't keep it. Okay.
And would you introduce?
Sure.
Who's accompanying you?
Yep, I'm Ron Bias, City of
Put
Shelton.
Button up.
Okay, Ron Bias, City of Shelton, Planning and Zoning, Zoning Enforcement Officer, Wetlands Enforcement Officer. And I have to my left, Ava Martino, who is our Land Use Assistant, who's been with us for about 2 months. Very, very welcome addition. I'll breeze through this thing. Hi to everybody, including in the box. On the second page, you guys want to follow along. Just the planning and zoning part of what we cover: business occupancy, home office, doing DBAs, sign permits, and complaint forms for zoning violations. We move to the next page.
Question I have, you have one of the online permitting call outs is for blight, and you said it's new, reporting new. So there's new reporting information you can do online.
For a blight complaint?
Yeah, this is the online, isn't that the page that you want?
Yeah, I'm on the second page.
On the first page.
First page is the cover. You talking about this page?
Yeah.
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 Mhm.
Is Blight a new, oh, Blight's down below.
Yeah, it says blight.
That comes through our
reporting.
office and that's covered by Bernie Simons.
Right, but they can do online reporting
Absolutely,
now.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
and then the same thing, there's a notation, the city will be implementing an online reporting portal for resident concerns pertaining to city buildings, parks, roadways, and general concerns. And that should be early, this summer.
Yep,
So it'll be something similar, they can log on and,
yep. It's very, very similar to that. The platform is pretty much the same across the
Mhm.
board.
okay. All right, next page.
Yep, we have, I'll breeze through this. So these are, in numbers of what we've accomplished in the last year. 29 attached additions, 145 DBAs, home offices, business occupancy, which are mostly covered by Ms. Castro.
Mhm.
Decks, 59 detached structures, garages, sheds, barns, all accessory structures. 38 for in-law, which are approved through the P and Z Commission.
Mhm.
New construction, new homes, 21, pools, above ground and in ground, 29, signs, which are done again through Ms. Castro, the sign committee, and P and Z, 57, commercial, 54, whether it be new additions or renovations.
The commercial is not retail, correct? That's up in the business occupancy.
Well, if the building in itself could be, but
New.
the actual business occupancy is.
Yeah, so if there's an existing building and
That's,
pizza parlor goes out, another one comes in.
that goes in the 145 column, correct?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay,
So we have a total of 436 COCs processed. And I have to say, when this number popped up, and I'm going to ad lib a little bit because 2024 was a really trying year for the office. We had Alexander Rossetti, who had left us in August, but prior to that was working remote a lot. So it left Alexandria and myself prior to Ava, prior to Nicole, who I want to mention too, who's up front now, left us pretty much by ourselves. And it was challenging in the sense that the workload increased is almost by double.
Mhm.
But putting our heads down and working whatever hours it took to get the job done, we didn't even realize ourselves that the numbers were that good. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Mhm.
I couldn't believe it because it showed the resilience of two people at that time, I have to say. And this young lady has done a remarkable job
Mhm.
in growing into the job and really and shining like she did for so far. And I know going forward, she's only going to get better and better. It's really going to be a shining star.
Do you want to acknowledge Nicole? Because
Nicole Guzman, yeah, she joined us late last year. We had another one in the interim, but that was a void. We didn't have anybody up front. So we were doing, she was doing the administrative job. I was doing zoning, wetlands, and then we're taking people coming into the office, as well as answering the phones, because we had the void up front with nobody to answer the phone. So it was quite the challenge in 2024. And I have to give another shout out to Mayor Loretti for giving us the help that we have now in 2025, which I expect our numbers to be even better and for us to be even stronger and be able to finally get to some things that I really wanted to get to for the last 2 years since I've been here. And by giving us Nicole and Ava, I really think that that's going to help bolster us. And now we have a new addition with Dominic DeGange, who's outstanding. This is a seasoned veteran with decades of experience that we're all going to learn from with his knowledge. So I just wanted to say that in ad lib because the numbers, we saw that number increase by almost double. I was staggered, to be honest with you.
Hush, back up. I got a question on that.
Oh, okay.
So at the top, the second sentence says a kiosk has been placed on the third floor to assist applicants in navigating the online portal and submitting applications. So that's a workstation with a computer.
Correct.
All right, so somebody who does not have something at home can still come in and do everything.
Nicole sometimes and whoever else, Alexandria's done it. We've all done it. We've all taken people out and showed them how to log in, create a username, password, and to apply for a permit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good.
You have that access if you don't have like I said, the access to the home. With the complaints, we still, complaints come in to be filed through OpenGov. Once they're submitted, I get out there. And they're assigned to me. Standard process. I go out and visit. First time I visit, it's generally very informal, non-combative. Leave my door tag, a card, make contact. It's been very helpful in not having standoffish in the beginning. I just like to have a good relationship with people. They seem to respond a lot better that way. Additional visits or referrals can be added as needed. We also coordinate with other departments, PD, to ensure and gain compliance when necessary. While complaints are not visible to the general public, the staff can view notes, comments, and photos added by any assigned staff member at this point right now. So we have 64 resolved complaints. I can tell you as of right now, there's only 5 open complaints in the queue. When I got here 2.5 years ago, we inherited a backlog of over 300 complaints that were not touched. So I maintain, I'm a little OCD, I admit it, but I like to stay on top. That's why I only have 5 open complaints, because and I think people who know me, I get around.
You move them along.
Yeah.
So what categories do those zoning complaints fall?
They fall under anything. They could be complaints that are anything from junk cars. They could be chicken coops. They could be structures, accessory structures. They could be working without a permit. They could be, various complaints. They could be sign complaints. We get those. As you know, we had an issue with a banner recently downtown. They could come in all different varieties. And they also could come, some of these complaints can be resolved. Some of them are civil matters as well. I mean, people that blow leaves onto someone else's property is not something that is in the zoning regulations. It becomes more of a civil matter, but we get the complaints. They would still come in.
Right. And then just for security, the 2 of you go out together. It's not one and one or one.
Right now, Ava has joined me on inspections. I'm assuming one day we might be able to split up at some point, but right now we're kind of in the beginning process of getting her feet on the ground. Right. Okay, so over the last year, for the enforcement update, our office is actively monitoring construction sites across the city, surrounding erosion concerns, overall compliance to ensure the projects are built according to approved plans. We responded to reports and complaints from both commissioners, residents, addressing issues promptly and successfully bringing properties into compliance. In addition to the construction site oversight, we've been working on enforcement related and non-compliant or unpermitted window display LED signs and signage. I'll stop there for a second, because that was one of the areas that has bothered me when I haven't been able to get to what I'd like to have gotten to in 2024. But now we're going to start to make headway now with the current staff we have, which I'm really happy about. Ground signs, lawn signs that are prohibited are removed daily, every day, including today. And we've increased both sites visits to ensure that the ongoing projects and upcoming projects are being properly maintained, soil and erosion, everything's being followed by the approved design. Complaints are reviewed thoroughly, and we continue to work closely with applicants to guide potential future projects towards compliance from the outset. To support these efforts, we've welcomed new staff members, Nicole Guzman, Ava Martino, to our office, who will assist in inspections and site compliance. This additional support will allow us to respond more proactively and resolve violations more efficiently. We're encouraged by the positive direction the department is heading in and remain open to feedback. We welcome any comments or suggestions from the commission. And as always, we're looking for ways to improve our process and better serve the community and the city of Shelton.
So on that page, that column on the right are all proposals that had been approved and they're in the process of being constructed.
These are active sites right now, correct? Yep, all the way down. I can name, a few of them. The 1055 is a hot button. Is one I go by daily. River Road 453 is a daily one. The other ones are probably twice a week. 40 Oliver Terrace is the mulch issue that we're having right now, plus the car station. There's several, the gas stations going on Bridgeport Ave.
You got the condos down on River Road.
Yeah, we got the
where
condos on
Winter
River Road,
used
which
to
is
be.
740, 762, the old Winter site, correct?
Yeah, there's a lot of site work
Lot of site
happening in
work
that,
there. Yeah,
for
that's,
sure.
yeah. And then there's Todd Road, which is of course McDonald's.
And then,
Two 275 is about to come off the docket. I have to say, that one, in the last week, has come along. That one has looked beautiful. The landscape on that is outstanding. They did that.
275 Quorum Road is the
That's
apartments.
Petromont.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That came out beautiful. I mean, I know Steve's here tonight, but that one I went by today. And I gotta say that the landscaping, it looks marvelous. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
they did a lot of good work. They even did hydro seed, which is great. They were really good.
So, there was, we had approved a storage, building up on Blacks Hill Road. And that,
It's not CO'd yet. I know
okay.
you're talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's up on by the Constitution Boulevard project.
yep.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
not, I looked it up. That's not CO'd yet. I know you sent me an email, you sent an email to us.
Mm-hmm.
That's in the queue, but it's not quite finished yet.
Okay, then up on 7 Progress, a while back in last year, company wanted to,
Is a meat place.
it was a delivery service that they would bring in.
You know, I don't, to be
I don't
honest
know
with
if they
you,
ever ended up coming in, but we had given them approval
I
to
don't-
use one
I
of the
don't-
buildings up there.
There are
Remember that?
trucks
they're up and
there.
running?
Huh?
Yeah,
There are trucks parked there.
There
Yeah.
are.
yeah.
Oh, they did.
They
All right,
did,
so they've been
yeah,
operating
that's what I
without any
thought.
problem then, obviously.
Yeah, that's been so
That's good.
smooth that I don't even know they're there.
Okay,
Oh,
then
yeah.
on Center Street. Yeah, good. On Center Street,
The
we,
neighbors are giving really good feedback on them.
what?
The neighbors next to the property on Center Street are giving really good feedback on them.
That's good. I was just wondering if someone had been monitoring to make sure that they were in conformity with the restrictions that we had
There
put
has
on
been
them.
zero issues there whatsoever.
Good.
Yeah, we haven't any complaints whatsoever.
Yeah, we were concerned about the, not the windows not being blocked, so you couldn't see in,
Yeah,
and then no pass, like, key to get in.
okay,
you
yeah.
know, that kind of
okay,
thing.
Yeah,
It had to be unlocked
like a
during
boy, like a
hours.
boys club.
Yeah, so. Any questions from any of the commissioners? Yeah? Anybody?
No, good
remotely?
work. Good work. Appreciate it.
Okay, very good. Thank
Right.
you,
Thank you.
Ron, Ava,
All right.
Nicole.
Thank you.
All right. All right, so public hearings are the next agenda item, and I'd like to share the protocol we'll be following. Staff will indicate if any written comments were received from the public no later than 24 hours before the start of this evening's meeting. If written comments were received, they will be read into the record. The applicant and or associates will make their presentation. The commission can ask questions during the presentation or at its conclusion. The applicant and or associates can answer commission questions at the time they're presented or at the conclusion of the presentation. At the point in each public hearing when I ask for public comment, we'll begin with elected officials of the city who may be present in the auditorium, followed by any elected officials participating via Zoom or through a phone link. And after elected officials conclude their comments, members of the public will be recognized, starting with those present in the auditorium, followed by those participating remotely via Zoom or through the phone link. Those in the auditorium will need to list their name on a speaker sheet, and those participating via Zoom will need to use Zoom's raise your hand feature or dial *9 on your phone when we're ready to have public comment. After you're recognized, please state and spell your name and state your address to assist the recording secretary and stenographer when doing the minutes and transcript of a public hearing. Each speaker has 5 minutes to present comments, which should address specific criteria of the zoning regulations, the merits of the application, and be new information, not a repeat of comments presented by a previous speaker. Comments and questions should be directed to the commission, not to the applicant and or his associates. Members of the public are expected to practice appropriate etiquette by being quiet, observant, and respectful. Disruptive attendees may be removed from verbally participating. The applicant's attorney and or associates will be given the opportunity to address any comments or questions from the public after the last person from the public has been given the opportunity to speak. Commission feels further information is needed from the applicant. The chair will ask for a motion to continue the public hearing. If the public hearing remains open, the commission is not allowed to make any public comment discuss any part of the applicant's and or his associate's presentation, or receive any additional information from anyone. The commission feels the applicant and or associates have answered all questions and have addressed all concerns from the commission and or public, the public hearing will close. Commission reserves the right to discuss the application at the close of the public hearing or to schedule discussion in an upcoming commission meeting. So this is the continuation of public hearing for application 2430. Stephen Bellis for Stephen Shapiro. Proposal to amend the Shelton Planning and Zoning regulations by adding section 37, age restricted residential development. This particular application was accepted for review on November 13th, 2024. On January 15th, 2025, the public hearing opened but was continued per request of the applicant. On January 22nd, the applicant presented the proposal and the public hearing was continued. We received an extension letter on February 5th. On February 19th, public hearing that was scheduled had to be postponed as the applicant's paperwork contained a reference to a zoning section that did not exist in the Shelton zoning regulations. On March 12th, the applicant submitted an extension letter and the commission granted that, but we put the restriction that if the applicant was not ready to present the March 19th meeting, the commission would require the application to be withdrawn. However, on March 19th, the applicant did present an explanation of the proposal for a text change. Posted on the city's website is the application, a conceptual plan, a statement from the applicant about an overlay zone, the original and revised proposed text change, a map prepared by the Naugatuck Valley Council of Governments showing the roadways stated in the text change and the adjacent neighborhoods that would be affected, a list of properties, addresses of specific properties that would be affected, and 2 GIS maps with those properties marked, 2 extension letters, an opinion from Attorney Jason McCoy about this application, and correspondence from 6 residents. After the continuation of the public hearing on March 19th, the applicant filed on March 25th a revised proposed text change, a list of property owners and abutters who may be affected by the age-restricted district overlay zone that's been proposed, and a notice to those on the list of how the March 19th meeting may be viewed on YouTube, and a copy of the March 25th revised text amendment. Ms. Castro, were there any other reports, materials, or correspondence received within the time period for this application, but not yet posted to the city's website that need to be acknowledged for the record?
No,
Okay,
my one word versus good.
okay. I see that the applicant is present. Wherever you're comfortable, Attorney Bellis.
I don't mind sitting here.
Sure. So identify for yourself for the record. You have the floor.
Sure. I'm attorney Stephen Bellis. I'm with the Pellegrino Law Firm and I live in Shelton, Connecticut. So as the commission chairwoman has stated, at our last meeting, you asked me to put together a notice, which I did, and the notice was to not only those people that were affected, but also any abutters. And Commissioner Amato asked that I send it to anyone across the street from those abutters. So I did that as well. I have the notice and the list. I didn't count them. I don't know. Perhaps
Several.
50 people. I don't really know. I gave a copy of that to Alexandria. After hearing the public, there was a couple questions about the text amendment. One of them, so I did a revised one on 325 with minor changes. One of the comments was the direction of where this area may be. I had south of Old Stratford Road and south of Route 8. I guess technically it's southwest of Old Stratford Road and southeast of Route 8. So I just made it a little more clear, I guess. I also added that the property cannot be located on a cul-de-sac. That was always our intention, but I don't think it was stated. The buffers and setbacks were corrected to say 10 feet from a public road. I don't know, it said something about a highway, and I didn't want that to be confused. So public road. That was it for the changes on the revised text amendment. I think that the commission had heard all my testimony and I did rebut everybody. Not everybody, but I did submit a rebuttal. I guess my summation is that I think this gives there's the zoning commission a tool to use that may be used in lieu of someone who wants to file an 830G application. It limits the number, it limits the density. Whereas an 830G, the density is not a consideration for denying an application. Unfortunately, that's the law. There are reasons for denying an 830G, but density is not one. But density is important to people. It's important to neighborhoods. It's important to the people behind me, and it's important to this commission. So I think that this gives you an opportunity to limit it. That cannot be more than 10 units. Other than that, the commission was a little bit concerned. Even though it was properly noticed, I don't think there was anything wrong with the text amendment, but you wanted to give that opportunity. Just in case anyone did not hear it, see it. I included the YouTube video site and I invited them to come here tonight. So I have nothing else to say. I think it was more for them to come and speak with you. If there is anyone, I don't really know.
Okay, I have a couple questions. Could you start from the top? Just point out exactly what changes were made. So it's just
On 325?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
all right, on the section 37.1 purpose, any of those paragraphs have any language changes?
No.
No. Okay, 37.2, you got numbers 1, 2, 3. and
No,
then
no.
Nothing. So 3A through 3J.
So on,
You got there.
yep, no, hang on. So on C,
Yep.
it says street location.
Mm-hmm.
So that tells you where you can have this overlay zone.
Right.
And if you look at, I don't know what that is, a little two, II, is
Yeah, Roman numeral 1, yeah,
that a Roman
small,
numeral?
lowercase I.
Yeah, two I's.
Yeah,
I clarified instead of south of Old
Mhm.
Stratford Road, I made it southwest.
okay.
And I clarified instead of south of Route 8, I made it southeast.
Mm-hmm.
And then on number little 3, it says the property cannot be located on a cul-de-sac.
Okay.
Staying within that page,
Mm-hmm.
under F,
Mm-hmm.
there was a question about whether the houses that are currently there can be remain on the property and have additional units, but they would count, but have additional units behind it. So I corrected the setback of 10 feet. What would be different will be the words 10.
Mm-hmm.
And then instead of a highway, I put from a public road.
Where's that highway one?
I thought it said highway.
Public road.
Or it said something, it didn't say public road.
So F, buffers and setbacks.
Yeah, that's it.
Lowercase 1 just has 10. The correct.
10 feet from a
From
public
public
road
road.
is the clarification.
Okay. All right, how about anything else on that page?
No,
And how about on page 3?
I don't think so. No,
None of that changed. Okay.
no,
The bond,
no,
and then the back page.
nothing changed.
Okay.
Those changes were made because of the public's comments
So,
or clarifications.
so does any commissioner have any questions for the applicant at this point, before we go into the public portion?
Why no cul-de-sac location?
Limited the availability of where these parcels can land and so that you would have more of a thoroughfare, a bigger road as opposed to having it on a small cul-de-sac where the traffic could become a problem. That's it.
How would that go with the fire department, whatnot?
They like it.
No turnaround, they'd have to back up or?
Oh, no. When they come in with a site plan, you would have to approve that. There'd have to be a way to have internal roadways that
Right,
make
yeah,
sense,
that's-
sight lines, all the standard stuff that you would look at.
Okay,
Yeah, this is just a text. The
No,
person
I
would have to
understand.
come in with a special exception And under the special exception, safety and health is a consideration for the commission, and that's a big one. So you would want to make sure that there's egress, and ingress.
Absolutely.
I agree with you.
Mhm. Anybody participating remotely have any questions? Commissioner Dickey, Commissioner Parkins,
No.
and did Commissioner McGee join us?
Yes, 6:10, sorry.
Okay. All right, so let the record show Commissioner McGee joined us at 6:10. All right. Okay, any other final comments? Attorney Bells before we go to the public?
Not for me, no.
All right, so what the public can comment on are the revisions that you submitted
Sure.
since the last public hearing on March 19th. And so far, we have two people that have signed up. First one is,
Jenny, didn't we, because we asked him to notice people who hadn't been noticed,
Mhm.
that all those people would be able to comment on it.
yeah,
You should be
this,
able to comment from the very beginning on this application, not just what's been new today. My thoughts are. Good.
I'm just about the text. This is the text now, not the original one.
Oh,
That's, I just want to
yeah.
make sure this is that. All right, so two people have signed up. First one is Fred Farmer at 391 Shelton Avenue.
I'll step aside.
Come on up, Mr. Baumlin. So state yourself for the record.
Hi, my name is Fred Farmer. I live at 391 Shelton Avenue, Shelton, Connecticut. And I think it would be a very sad day in Shelton if this proposal was passed. You're talking about a 40-foot structure 10 feet from Shelton Avenue and Armstrong Road. I can't imagine that. And that's what's in your regulations now. I've talked to all the people around the area, and I have a petition that is signed by over 40 people in that area. 30 of which are on that mailing list opposing it. And I would like to read the reasons off why they're opposed to it, if you'd like.
Sure, you got 5 minutes, so
Okay.
use your time.
We the undersigned residents of Shelton, Connecticut strongly oppose the proposed zoning regulation changed outlined in 2430 revision 324 2025. Now, I heard you mention that it was 325. I think the date was the revision date I thought was 320.
25, yeah, just say it up here.
Oh,
All right,
okay.
maybe I misspoke.
This change would lead to the destruction of the existing R1 residential zones, negatively impacting the character of our community and the quality of life for its residents. The destruction of the R1 zone and unfair targeting of specific lots. The proposed change would dismantle established R1 zoning protections, allow for dense housing in areas historically designed for single-family homes. This shift disregards the long-term planning and stability that the zoning laws are meant to provide. Furthermore, this proposal affects only 12 targeted lots, 2 of which are owned by the very developer seeking the change. A zoning regulation should serve the interests of the entire community, not benefit a single applicant. This selective application of zoning changes raises concerns about spot zoning, which is both unfair and legally questionable. The proposed change will allow up to 10 dwellings per parcel, 10 feet from a public road and 15-foot setbacks and a 40-foot height. This would drastically change the current zoning regulations. This level of density is inappropriate for the affected lots and would lead to overcrowding, loss of green space, and increase of impervious surfaces, contributing to drainage and environmental concerns. The increase in residential density will result in more vehicles on already strained roadways, creating traffic congestion and safety hazards. Additionally, most lots in the affected area were not designed to accommodate this level of development, leading to insufficient parking and increased on-street congestion. Higher population density will overwhelm emergency services, water and sewer systems, and public utilities. Many of these systems are already at or near capacity, and additional housing will require costly upgrades, placing the financial burdens on the taxpayers of Shelton. Residents purchase their homes based on existing zoning protections. If this proposal is approved, it will erode property values, disrupt the character of our community, and diminish the quality of life for longtime residents. Allowing dense development on a select few small lots ignores the interests of the broader community. The proposed increase in housing density will lead to higher noise levels, reduced privacy, and loss of green space, directly impacting neighborhood properties in addition to higher density development, and can contribute to environmental strain, increased stormwater runoff, and reduced air quality. We urge the Planning and Zoning Commission to reject the proposal. Zoning regulations changed in 2430 revision 324/2025. The targeted nature of this change benefits a single applicant with the long-term interest of the broader community. We call for the preservation of R1 zoning protection to maintain the character of our neighborhood, a halt to any zoning changes that unfairly benefit selected property owners at the expense of the community. A comprehensive impact study to assess how this proposal would affect infrastructure, schools, traffic, and the environment. More community input and consideration of alternative solutions that support responsible growth without sacrificing existing residents' quality of life. We, the undersigned, stand in firm opposition to this proposal and request that our concerns be given full consideration before any decision is made. And I submit the petition with 40-something.
Thank you.
I didn't staple it.
Just pass it on to the staff.
And just if you want this, I have noted the ones that were on the list that I have opposed.
Oh, okay.
They're on that. That just,
Very good.
thank you.
Thank you. Next is Jay Gulick.
Hi, my name is Jay Gulick. I'm from 365 Shelton Avenue. Let's see, and I did work pretty hard to try to make this 5 minutes, so.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so at any rate, first, we understand that Shelton has an obligation under statute 8-30G to provide a minimum level of affordable housing. However, this ARRD overlay does not meet those requirements. Therefore, the Planning and Zoning Commission should be under no pressure to approve it. In Steve Bellis's attempts to push this application through, he has not followed the procedural requests of the Planning and Zoning Commission. He is withholding information from Shelton residents and providing very little affordable housing. The residents therefore call for the denial of this application and the implementation of a 8-30G moratorium to stop this waste of time and begin a more measured and thoughtful approach. Please consider the evidence against Steve Bellis for withholding information from Shelton residents. First, why did Steve Bellis send out all the information regarding the proposed amendment? Why did he not send out all information regarding the proposed zoning amendment to all the adjacent property owners?
Mr.
Second,
Gulick, don't make it personal. Talk about the merits of the application.
okay,
Okay.
well, this is factual. I just want to give factual information.
All right.
So why didn't he send out the property addresses, okay, that he promised on the Shelton City website? If you look on the city website, there's addresses in his planned mailing. When we received the mailing, we did not receive those addresses. They're simply up on the website. Please look into that. It's a fact. Why didn't he provide the maps to show who would be affected? There were no maps. Nobody received any maps. We have no idea what property lines were affected or what weren't, you know? You talked about the video link, okay? Why didn't he provide the correct video link? Please look at that link. He provided a link instead, which obscured the real video, okay? He provided a link of 100 videos up on the Shelton City website, not noting the time or date of the proper video or the name of the proper video. So nobody could find this video. We're all left in the dark, okay? This is wrong. It's not personal, it's just wrong, okay? Yeah, so at any rate, if the residents don't have the meeting history, if they don't have the addresses targeted, if they don't have the maps identified, identifying the property lines, there's nothing to object to, right? Was that part of Steve Bellis's plan? I believe so. You know, in addition, the properties in the zoning overlay are made up mostly of ledge surrounded by swamp. Connecticut requires a minimum of 300 to 500 feet of space for blasting safety. The 15-foot offsets in high-density housing will not meet this minimum requirement. The swampy areas require large amounts of fill. This is known to produce mixed results like cracked foundations and compromised structures. Therefore, the Shelton Avenue portion of this zoning overlay will likely support only 2 to 3 affordable housing units amongst all the developments. So this is not worth the damage that will be done to Shelton Avenue. Then we ask, you know, why is Steve Shapiro targeting these R1 properties? Each one includes homes that are owned by real people who have invested their life savings into the homes. We've worked our entire lifetimes, purchase, maintain, and improve our homes and properties. This all leads me to conclude that Steve Bellis and Steve Shapiro are the architects of a large-scale cover-up. They don't want us to know anything about this zoning application. They don't want us to know the facts or the objections presented in these meetings. They don't care about our homes, our investments, our property values. They don't care about affordable housing. It's all about power and money. And please remember, Steve Shapiro owns 395 Shelton Avenue, and his net worth will immediately increase when the decline of Shelton Avenue begins. There's no benefit in devaluing all of Shelton Avenue for 2 to 3 affordable housing units. So we asked the zoning board to remove Shelton Avenue from this application and seriously consider denying the entire zoning application. If Steve Bellis and Steve Shapiro really want to help Shelton, they should develop areas of need in Shelton by acquiring properties that are in need of improvement. There are plenty of opportunities, including old warehouses, old buildings, empty properties, huge swaths of undeveloped land in Shelton. Established neighborhoods can be preserved while new affordable housing opportunities are created. Finally, we ask the Planning and Zoning Commission to please consider doing what other towns in Connecticut have done, like Milford, Fairfield, Bridgeport, New Canaan, and others, and apply for an 8-30G moratorium, which is a certificate of affordable housing completion. This provides a 4-year pause during which Connecticut towns can become exempt from the Affordable Housing Appeals Procedure. This exemption will take the pressure off the Planning and Zoning Commission and allow Shelton to deny affordable housing projects that don't make sense. The 8.30G moratorium provides a more measured, thoughtful, effective, and responsible way to develop affordable housing in Shelton. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Gulick.
You gonna read that letter?
I will leave many copies of the letter. Thank you very much. Whatever you need.
Yeah, for now. Good. Was there anyone else in the auditorium that wished to comment on this particular application? Come on up. And I did not mention any public officials. I don't see any here. So,
I didn't get to put my name in.
yeah, go right ahead.
Thank you. My name is Scott Westland, 371 Shelton Ave.
Mhm.
I just wanted to come up here and second Fred's communication to you guys
Mhm.
and Jay's communication. We all love Shelton. We love our neighbors. We love the area. We'd like to preserve the area. So I just wanted to say, please take this into consideration, that we don't want overdevelopment in this area. Thank you.
That's it.
That's it.
Okay. You got 4.5 more minutes. You could yield your time. Come on up. Here's another add-on. Thank you. All right, so we have Fran DeBase, DBS, okay. Fran, just identify yourself for the record and state your address.
Fran Dibias, 28 Partridge Lane. I have a question, somebody can answer for me. I have bought one of the properties that the developer is looking to build next to. I have 1.7 acres. How come I'm not listed on that list?
Just say all your questions and then the applicant gets to answer them,
Okay,
okay?
because my neighbors have just as much or more than I do. And I have a map here that shows it. So if this amendment is passed, will it allow me to build the same way as they're trying to build?
Go ahead. Keep going.
And all my neighbors can do the same thing? So my street will be a nice little apartment after apartment after apartment. And all I want to say is that I would like the commission to deny this application because it will affect and impact traffic, green space, way of life for the neighborhood and change the direction of Shelton as it has been for years. Also reduce property values and the desirability of living here. That's it.
Okay,
Will I have my questions answered?
yeah, the applicant gets to come back after everybody.
Thank you.
If there are anybody else, okay, and I'm just going to give a heads up, if there were any public officials that were participating remotely and you wanted to comment on that.
No.
Use Zoom's raise your hand feature, dial *9.
All right, so thank you.
The paper. All right, next person is Sam Sanchez. Just state your name and address for the record.
Sure. My name is Sam Sanchez. I live in 361 Shelton Avenue. I'll keep it brief. I just wanted to support what's already been said. When we bought our house 22 years ago, roughly, one of the reasons that we bought it was because we liked the way that the neighborhood was, that the R1 residential with the big lots and the trees and everything else. And in the 22 years that we've been there, we raised our family there. We have our son who's going to the University of Connecticut now. Brought him home. That's always been our home. We've had many family picnics there over the years, have invested a lot into our home, both financially and mentally and physically, and really enjoy the neighborhood the way that it is now. We would hate to see it change. I know that it's not a very legal argument and not a very technical argument, but we love our neighborhood the way that it is. And we intend to do whatever we can to keep it that way. So I just wanted to support what's already been said by my neighbors more eloquently than I have. And that's it. I'll yield the remaining of my time. Thank you very much. Appreciate
Thanks for coming out
having the
tonight.
opportunity to talk. Thanks.
You're welcome.
You need a narrow table, huh?
Thank you.
Chris Petrosello,
Okay, next is Chris Petroselli.
30 Daybreak Lane.
Mhm.
I don't know if any of you've been to the Partridge Daybreak Lane area. If you have, then this will make sense to you. I've lived there 42 years. And in that time, we had across the street where Daybreak Lane hits Old Stratford, we had a beautiful field, green space. There's now Rushbrook Estates. At the other end of Daybreak, again, green space, a little bit of a forest on the way, cut through to Armstrong Road, now is Cranberry Estates. I'm not sure how many units are there. It's got to be around 30. Yeah, my neighbors would be happy to know that UI is coming through again and going to cut down more trees and more limbs. Over the years, they've cut down 30 across the street from me. And now, if you've been there, Eversource has just worked magic on the area between Daybreak and Partridge with federally mandated but Eversource changing of the towers. They ruined, there's no forest left where there used to be a nice one. We have one forest left in that neighborhood, and that's at the end of Partridge. It'd sure be great if we could keep that one. We'd appreciate it. Wish I could talk about waste management, water runoff, but I can't. I just wanted to say, as the gentleman, people feel from Shelton Avenue, we really like our neighborhood the way it is. We've had a number of developments already, so I hope you take that into consideration. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for coming out this evening. All right, let's call anyone else from the, come on up, sir. Okay, we have Rick DiBiase,
Yes,
28 Partridge Lane.
it's me. No one else wants to be. Okay. Anyway. I live at the end of that cul-de-sac. My house is here, you get to there. The 118 lot that they want to build these units on is right about here, maybe 20 feet from my house. Okay, that gives me nothing, no privacy. Our lives are going to be on display 24/7 between the workers, future residents, if this goes through. You know, it's like going to New York City at Christmas time and going up and down and Saks Fifth Avenue windows and everybody just looking in. Not to mention my well, my septic. I mean, I've never once had a problem with my house, but I can't see that not happening if it's that close. 20 feet from the property line where they want to start building. 20 feet. You look right into my front. You can look right into my bathroom, right into my family room. I'm sorry if I sound selfish and I'm not addressing the other areas, but this is not right. You cannot be that close to my house and say, I mean, what are they gonna do? Put up some arborvitae's that are, I'll be 105 years old by the time the things get to be 5 feet tall. So, you know, when I was here the last time, I know I didn't speak politically correctly because I didn't understand a lot of the terminology that was here. So I'm just telling you, I don't mean to sound selfish and just talk about me and my house and everything else, but I'm getting 90% for that 118 property being affected. The minute you go up my driveway, everything else does not exist anymore. It's us, and they're gonna be, here's my house, here's their property right there. Right there. Okay, so just that's really all I have to say. I don't know, you know, I'm not a terminology guy. I don't understand a lot of this stuff, but I do understand what's right and wrong, and that's not right. You can't put something that close to my house and then just walk away and say, oh well, we got to have the affordable housing because well, you know, there's other properties in Shelton. What are we, the only game in town? So anyway, thank you very much.
Thank you for coming out tonight.
Okay.
Anyone else here in the auditorium that would like to speak on this? And is there anyone else after this gentleman? Here you go, sir. Oh, okay. The person in the back that wanted to come on and have a seat, and then you can slide over. You could put your name on the list in the meantime. Come on right up here. Yeah, come on up here.
You see, I'm sorry.
Okay, so
Ed Kowalski.
next is Ed Kowalski, and state your name and address of the record.
Armstrong Road, Shelton, Connecticut. I lived on, Armstrong Road most of my life. I grew up there in the neighborhood. There used to be a tree in the middle of the road. If you know where it is, it's between James Farm Road and Old Stratford Road. The thing there's so much traffic on that road. Nobody even stops at that signs or anything. I sit in the living room of the house and I can see everybody just going right through. You hear the radios blasting up the street from the house. It's four houses up is where they want to build from Armstrong in and from Old Stratford in on Armstrong. And it is a nice lot. It's been there a long time. And what they did with the substation for the power station, they made it look nice, like a house, and that was pretty nice. But today, the way it looks, and I know what that fellow was talking about with his backyard. I mean, you go a little farther up past where they're gonna build, and you see where you go in to the UI where they're putting up the high tension wires and everything. You can see right into his backyard. I mean, you can take a walk through the woods and people walking through, you can see. And it's just not right. And the traffic's just really bad. And so that's about all I have to say. That's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kowalski. Next is it Ashley? Okay, come on, to open in front of the mic. Oh, you did, okay. Just state your name and address for the record.
My name is Arshnae McCray. I go by Marsha and I live at 74 Mather Avenue in Shelton. My neighbor behind me, who lives behind me, Fred Farmer, kind of brought this to my attention. And I never realized how close in my backyard all of this will be. I have no privacy. I moved to Shelton 8 years ago. And when I moved to this specific house, I kind of like the secluded back. I did not put a fence up because I was all the way in the back. And I have a picture here on my phone of my back porch. I don't know if you can see. And if you look there, one of the red lines there that they put up, that's just like, I have no privacy there And I'm just here to support every one of the neighbors to deny this application. And for the reasons a lot of them stated, like busy, roads. The road is already busy. And also one of the reasons why I bought that house too, there's a wetland to the right, and I was told no one could ever build there. So I'm not sure how close or how far away from there this new property is gonna be built. But I'm just here to ask the commissioner to deny the application.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you for coming out. Is there anyone else in the auditorium? If there's anyone online that wanted to comment on this particular application, please use Zoom's raise your hand feature or dial *9. Okay,
Chairwoman, this is Commissioner Ticky.
yes,
I have to hop off at this point.
okay, thank you for
Thank you.
alerting us.
Yes, thank
And have a good evening. Alternate Commissioner McGee, are you with us?
Yep.
Okay, you're being seated for Commissioner Ticky,
Thank you.
right? So we have Mr. Harbinson.
Good evening, Commissioners. Thomas Harbinson, 15 Soundcrest Drive. I spoke to application 2430 at your March 19th meeting, and I have several further comments to address. Since that March 19th meeting, there was the text amendment that's been discussed here, dated the 2025 March 25th. And on item 3C, subsection II, which was revised to read southwest of Old Stratford Road and southeast of Route 8, I again observe that the Google Drive folder for the application shows how this AARD would apply to 118 Armstrong Road, which is most certainly north of Armstrong Road, which runs east-west in that area. This is clearly shown on the city's GIS website, and 118 Armstrong Road cannot be construed as being south nor southwest of Armstrong Road. If you do use south of Armstrong Road, then you should know that Lot 19 for number 5 Armstrong Road of 1.67 acres, Lot 8 at number 1 Armstrong Road of 1.88 acres, Lot 13 at number 51A at 2.25 acres, and Lot 57 at number 128 Armstrong Road at 2.39 acres would be eligible, being south of Armstrong Road. Additionally, with this new revision, item F regarding the buffers was reduced to the minimum building setback from 30 feet from a public road to be 10 feet from public road. I think the 10 feet setbacks may be in harmony with a downtown environment where you're concerned about light coming in through a neighborhood window, but they are not the look and feel of parcels identified where this would apply on Shelton Ave nor on Stratford Road. Next is, as there are properties or parcels which would be impacted, which are within 500 feet of an adjacent municipality, specifically 118 Armstrong Road, even though it's north of Old Stratford Road, it is 477.3 feet per the city's GIS to the town of Stratford. While this proposal has been referred to the Naugatuck Valley Council of Governments, has it been referred to the Metro Council of Governments covering Stratford, never mind Stratford itself, as required under Connecticut General Statutes Section 8-3B. And I had one item that I had asked about at the last month's meeting regarding the occupancy had to be on a lease, or was it an occupant or a tenant, as to the age restriction. So I hope that can be clarified. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Harbinson. Is there anyone else, Ms. Castro? Sure.
Hi, Andrea Danko, 2 James Farm Road.
Okay, go ahead, ma'am.
I'm intended to come to comment on the second item on the agenda, but I'm currently looking at the very vague notice that the law firm sent out, which makes me believe that these are both relevant to me and my home and family here on James Farm Road. I just want to kind of agree with what everyone has said. It's a disgrace and horrifically inappropriate for this to even be considered for this residential area. There is clearly a one-family home at 118 Armstrong Road. This area was never intended to support this kind of structure. It makes one wonder why folks are buying and flipping houses that were probated in ill repair to then flip them into these dwellings that can only line the pockets while ruining the neighborhood for those who live in it. I live right on Cranberry Bog / Cranberry Pond. If you read Yale's conservation report about this wetland, it is rare that these don't exist anymore. It is a beautiful feature of this neighborhood, and particularly one that I know myself and my neighbors really enjoy. There is a vast amount of wildlife that would be at risk of displacement or death due to runoff into this body of water just to build this inappropriate structure. James Farm Road, Armstrong Road are not designed to have this level of traffic. There's a very narrow bridge on James Farm Road that follows through into Stratford. There are a number of accidents. I've aided people in front of my home in accidents because people fly through here with no regard. This irresponsible project would just continue to put the neighborhood and the residents that live here at risk. I just would ask that all of this be considered in the quality of life of the residents who live here.
Okay. Ma'am, could you spell your last name, please, for the record?
D like dog, A, N like Nancy, K-O.
Okay. And your street address again was on James Farm?
2 James Farm.
Perfect. Okay. I just want to make sure our stenographer has that correct. Thank you for coming out this evening.
Thank you.
Anyone else? No. Okay, Attorney Bellis, you have the floor. Any comments that you want to share?
Yes, for the record, again, I'm Attorney Stephen Bellis, and yeah, I just would like to respond to a couple of the comments that were made tonight. The first one I'll address was Tom Harbison's comment. Tom, take a look. The text amendment does not refer to Armstrong Road at all. It talks about being any property in this particular text amendment has to be southwest of Old Stratford Road and southeast of Route 8. It never mentions Armstrong Road. So I think all the properties you were trying to identify just maybe you just misread it. So those are not applicable. I don't subscribe to the conspiracy theory. One of the speakers, I was asked to give a notice to the people that were affected and any abutters and anyone across the street. I not only provided the notice, I also included in the notice the revised text amendment because I thought it might be helpful. There was nothing surreptitious about my providing a link. I called Alexandria for the link. She gave me the link and I enclosed the link. Not trying to hide anything. I have no reason to do that. I think all the speakers that came up for you tonight were already here at the last hearing, so they heard everything I had to say and are well aware of this application and proposal, so there's nothing really new. So I take exception to thinking that an attorney was trying to hide the ball. And I've done a lot of nice things in this town this gentleman may not be aware of, so I don't appreciate his personal comments that I'm trying to be obfuscate things from the public. That's just not true. It's not me. Perhaps there's confusion. My text amendment is an age restricted text amendment. It has nothing to do with affordable housing. It complies with the plan of development that we have, and I already gave the commission a statement of all the ways that this text amendment complies with our long-range plan of development, encouraging active adults, increasing access for seniors. It's all laid out. So there's a need for age-restricted housing, and this was something that is in conformity with the plan of development. There is one affordable unit because in your affordability plan, you had requested that any new multifamily projects have a 10% component. So there's one unit out of 10 that's affordable. A lot of the residents maybe don't understand that if you live on Partridge Lane, this text amendment is not applicable to you. It does not apply to any properties that are on the cul-de-sac. So I understand that the people speaking here tonight are not attorneys, but I wanted to make it clear that if you live on Partridge Lane, you cannot your property cannot make an application under this particular text amendment. Perhaps I confused the public, and I apologize if I did, but I was simply trying to state that my client owns 2 properties, and he would prefer to use this text amendment if it were to pass, rather than use an 830G application. That may be on the agenda. It has nothing to do with me. I didn't file it. I'm not the attorney of record on that. But if I were a neighbor, I think that that might be a concern that they may have. And I think that this particular text amendment simply gives the zoning commission an opportunity to avoid an 830G application. But this certainly is not an 830G application or text amendment. It's just not. It's an age-restricted overlay zone that may or may not, if a person wants to apply it to their property and they fit in the area that's south of Route 8 and south of Old Stratford Road, and it's between 1 and 5, whatever it was, 1 and 1.5 and 2.5 acres, they could apply under this text amendment. Doesn't mean they're going to get it. You have to make a special exception and go through a hearing. The moratorium. Yeah, it'd be nice if Shelton could get a moratorium. I know the gentleman was asking for the zoning commission to impose a moratorium on affordable. Unfortunately, the commission can't do that because they don't meet the criteria that would allow a moratorium. It has nothing to do with the zoning commission. I'm sure they would do it if they could. They just don't have the ability under state law to do it. So don't blame them for that. There's nothing they can do about it. And there won't be a moratorium, in my opinion, anytime soon. So I think I've addressed all the speakers. I hope you see it for what it is, that it's something beneficial for the town, and other towns have done it. It's not unique. People like to relocate if they're over 55 into a smaller, more of a homeowners association development than a big single family home. And I think it would be beneficial to the town. That's all I have to say.
Okay, does any commissioners have any questions for the applicant? Okay, hearing none, how does the commission wish to proceed? Are you ready to close the public hearing, or do you feel it should be continued?
I think we're ready to close the public hearing at this point. Make a motion to close the public hearing. I'll second that.
All right, there's a motion to close the public hearing from Commissioner Cristiano, and there is a second. Oh, hang on a minute. Ma'am, what was your question?
When you referring to the cul-de-sac, maybe the property, it's not a cul-de-sac. The street ends, it turns, and then we open up.
Okay, Attorney Bellis, you're from, this is Partridge Lane, right? Okay, are you familiar with the street?
Yes.
Okay, so the resident is saying that she does not live in a cul-de-sac. Ma'am, why don't you come on up to the
Well,
table?
I'm not gonna debate that with her.
No, I know that, but it's just, could you
I-
just,
If she wants to make an application to the commission has to look at the text and see if she qualifies.
right, but what specific questions, because this is unusual that we don't have a going back between the two. Ask the question, let's see if we can get it answered.
The text amendment required, my reading of text amendment required to be off of Shelton Avenue. Petra Drain is not off of Shelton Avenue.
No, we're off Armstrong, like in that area.
Where's your property again?
Partridge,
This is-
right next.
This is not just about Shelton Avenue.
I know.
I thought it was Shelton Avenue.
The Partridge Lane dead
So-
ends. It's a dead end.
Dead end and
Yeah, so
cul-de-sac.
you're not applicable. It's not
Well,
applicable.
cul-de-sac and dead end are two different things.
Oh, she's making a distinction between the cul-de-sac. I
Well,
get that.
only
So at
because
the end
Didn't
of your
understand.
road is not necessarily a turnaround
It's a
kind of
dead end.
thing.
there is a
It's dead end.
turnaround, but then it opens up to where we are.
Right,
All right, and so
Okay.
so
all right, so
I understand.
Attorney Bellis,
She would have to come to the commission.
Yeah. okay,
I would have to come to the commission and address it.
If you wanted to
wanted
build
to build.
on that property.
Interpretation of that.
Even though it's written as a cul-de-sac.
May not
yeah,
apply.
it's two different things altogether.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so there was a motion made by Commissioner Cristiano to close the public hearing. That was seconded by Commissioner Kelly. So on the motion to close, Commissioner Motto,
Aye.
Commissioner Raticki, I'm sorry, McGee.
Aye.
Okay. Commissioner Cristiano,
Aye.
Commissioner Parkins,
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly,
Aye.
and chair votes aye. Motion is to close the public hearing has passed by a vote of 6-0. How does the commission wish to proceed with this application? Do you feel that you would like to discuss this evening? Or do you feel that we'd rather wait and have this on an agenda of an upcoming meeting for discussion?
I think I'd like to be heard and discuss it and make a decision tonight.
All right, you have the floor, Mr. Commissioner Cristiano.
So my position is this, the text amendment indicates section 3 B, sanitary sewer and public water. The AARD will only be considered if the appropriate dwelling is connected to public sanitary sewer and city water. Both of the areas that are being proposed by this application do not have sanitary sewer and water. This is not a situation of a simple hookup where they'd be tapping into a main that is readily accessible. Based on the concerns that we've had in conjunction with the WPCA, I'm going to recommend and put a motion forward that we deny this application without prejudice, push this to WPCA for a decision on whether or not they are going to expand the connection to both of these areas. Specifically, even if we look into the area around Old Stratford Road, it's even unclear through the discussions which and what properties are even affected in this application. Maybe the Old Stratford or Shelton Avenue was a little clearer on which properties could be affected, but again, there's no sewer and water that are being extended up for those areas. That's my recommendation and motion.
Okay. Any other commissioner have any comments?
No, I agree with you.
Okay. Okay. Commissioner Motto, you good?
I don't know, I hadn't thought about this.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know, this is where we're at with these proposals
Mhm.
versus the 830G and the need, really, I think, an argument for allowing other types of housing and.
Well, similarly positioned to the 830G would be the same problem in these areas.
Yeah,
They require city sewer and water.
yeah,
There's
right.
no indication from WPCA at this point that those are going to be approved or not approved. So until we get confirmation that extensions of lines or hookups are possible on how we can move forward at this point. These aren't simple hookups. These aren't tapping into mains or whatever the right phrases are. These are extensions of systems. It's not extensions of systems, in my opinion, of a single property. It's extensions of systems to every property that extends into these areas. And I don't know if the WPCA is going to approve those extensions and hookups.
Okay. Commissioner Parkins or Commissioner McGee, do you have any comments?
So I get, yeah, I hadn't thought of that, but I do agree with Commissioner Cristiano. You know, I really struggle with these text amendments. I've never been a proponent of them. To me, it's just another way for them for developers or whoever to kind of get what they want just by tweaking our regulations to fit their projects. And I just, you know, it could just, to me, it's almost the same as the 830G. And in this particular application, they're not only tweaking to get what they want, but they're also not through, understandable, not through Attorney Bellis, but also threatening us with an 830G at the same time. And I just, you know, I feel for the people in the audience, I'll be honest with you, because this is so confusing to us. I can imagine what it's like to them that don't live this day in, day out for as many years as we've all been on this commission. And so I'm just really not thinking that this text amendment is a benefit to the city of Shelton. It's going to increase density in an area that's R1, that people, as we've heard, have, you know, purchased their homes and for various reasons, to have open space, or not open space, but to have bigger yards and to have more, you know, space between their neighbors. And I think that has to be respected. But on the other hand, you know, we're faced with this 830G on a continuing basis. And unless we get affordable units, we're just adding to the count, and we're not adding to the affordable count. So we'll never get there. We'll never be able to put a moratorium in place because we'll never get there. So that's my thought. But I do agree with Commissioner Cristiano's recommendation.
No comments.
And the reality of it is this, you know, once WPCA makes a decision, then this likely that the applicant comes back to us, and then we have to make a decision at that point. But I don't know if we can move this application along. We're on the clock here. So that's my.
Also, that's 10 foot from the road seems very extreme.
Well, I'm sure if it does come back to us, those are things we can address.
But the amendment goes through in that language.
As is, right?
And-
Those are things that we would have to
And that would
discuss.
not be something we could
No,
dispute.
you would have to change the amendment.
Right, we would have to. give
No,
our
I'm saying if
opinion.
we're past with that 10 feet,
Oh,
we're
yeah.
stuck with that. If they come in
Absolutely.
for a special exception and they are within that 10 feet and everything else matches up, stuck with it. And I think that's, I'm just 10 feet from the road. It's not. And I think that's probably there so that they could get the density they want on that small.
And I think, you know, part of the issue is too, is that these are small lots. The likelihood of septic systems is low or impossible. So, you know, that's why they required the septic hookups. So until we get this answer from WPCA, I think that's
Well,
where
it's not only septic, it's also the water, right?
water, right?
Oh, very
Well,
good point.
isn't that really the applicant's obligation to get that from WPCA?
Correct.
How is that our obligation?
It is.
It's not.
Oh, so you're suggesting to deny it without prejudice, and then if they get the approval, come back to us
That's their,
Yeah.
if that's what they elect. That's
with the application.
that's their prerogative, but I don't think think we have the information to move forward at this point.
Commissioner McGee, were you about to say something?
Yeah, no, I just wanted to say I appreciate the intent of the applicant. I definitely think we need to be considering other options in the face of 830G. But with that being said, I agree with many of the comments of Commissioner Cristiano and Parkins, and yeah, I agree.
Okay. I think one of the commissioners for myself pretty much took the words out of my mouth, and one of it is about the location and the density and the appropriateness of this going through. So I would concur with Commissioner Cristiano's very explicit and the correct assessment of this whole particular application. All right, so seeing that we have discussed this, are there any motions on this particular application?
Make a motion to deny without prejudice.
All right, there's a motion to deny without prejudice from
I'll
Commissioner
second that.
Cristiano and seconded by Commissioner Kelly. So on the motion to deny without prejudice, do a roll call. Commissioner Kelly?
Aye.
Commissioner Parkins?
Aye.
Commissioner Cristiano?
Aye.
Commissioner Motto?
Aye.
Commissioner McGee?
Aye.
And chair votes aye. Motion is passed by a vote of 6-0 to deny without prejudice.
Thank you all very much.
Okay, good
See you
evening,
again.
Attorney Bellis.
Not a problem. Take care.
All right, we're moving on. If there's anyone that needs to leave, we're gonna recess for about 5 minutes. Huh? Yeah.
Why are we recessing?
They stop right there.
All right, we're on meeting.
If there is anyone that is not here for the rest of the agenda, I would ask that you take your conversations outside. Mr. Gulick. We have to continue the meeting. Good night.
Maybe didn't hear you.
The next item is application 2503, 118 Armstrong Road LLC. We're at 118 Armstrong Road, Assessors Map 19, Lot 10, seeking a text amendment. It's proposing Section 38 Armstrong Affordable District and a site plan application to allow 40 residential units, with 12 units being restricted as affordable under Connecticut General Statutes 8-30G. While staff did publish a legal notice in the Connecticut Post on April 4th and 11th as required, it came to staff's attention that the applicant did not send out the required notices to the public. So the opening of the public hearing for this agenda item will be at our May 14th meeting. Next on the agenda is old business, application 2420, Dominic Thomas for Crown Point 2 LLC at 0 Bridgeport Avenue and 48 Long Hill Crossroads. Assessors map 50, lots 15 and 16 in an LIP zone for a planned development district for a mixed-use commercial development to include a hotel, restaurants, grocery, and retail. The agenda stated that a resolution was to be reviewed. However, the resolution is not ready yet for review and discussion, and this agenda item will need to be postponed until our May 14th meeting as well. So the last item on the agenda is application 2504 FS Shelton LLC at 745 to 801 Bridgeport Avenue. Assessors map 28, lot 30, seeking a minor modification to PDD number 91 for a facade change to Galbi Restaurant Unit, which is located in Retail 1 building. This application was accepted at our April 9th meeting. Posted to the city's website is the application. A photo of the building exterior with the framing material over the exterior windows. A picture of how the exterior windows would appear with the metal, I'm calling them metal screens. I didn't know, have it some other way of describing it, with screening. Several pictures of similar material and an inspection report from a ceramics analytical laboratory. Ms. Castro, any other reports, materials, or correspondence received within the time period for this application, but not yet posted to the city's website that we need to acknowledge for the record?
No.
Okay. If the applicant is present, come on up. You could all come sit. So just identify yourself for the record.
Dave Gunya, landlord, Fountain Square.
So what would you like to tell us?
So I did ask the tenants to arrive here for tonight to offer an explanation or presentation about their space and why we're here to look at changing the facade in front of the restaurant.
Did the tenant change? Because didn't we approve something for Gobi, the exterior patio?
Yeah, Goji. They changed their name.
Oh, it's all right. So it's a name
but
change.
it's same owners, same restaurant, same concept.
Okay.
They decided that they changed the name to differentiate this location from their other location.
Okay.
For their own
Okay.
reasons. Yeah, so so basically they could explain the experience that they're trying to create, but the inside of the restaurant has walls from that were constructed in front of the storefront. And the reason for that was they didn't want car headlights pulling up and shining the lights inside of the space. So their space is designed to keep the light out. So the question came up with how do you address the backside of a wall when you're looking through the storefront? So their idea, rather than trying to come up with a basic film to cover the glass, was to create something that they believe would be more authentic to their the experience that they're trying to create, and the materials that they came up with are in front of us today. And with that, I'll turn it over to our tenant to describe the vision. And
Okay, so the interior walls that are shown on this picture just to shield car lights from the interior of the building with the tent.
Correct. So there's no window view from, if you're inside, there's no window view outside.
Okay.
Are they on the outside of the glass or on the inside?
The walls are on the inside of the restaurant. So if you walk into the restaurant, you will see.
No,
Oh, those will be on the outside.
That's outside.
Yeah, on the outside. So that material would be used to fill in those storefront spaces.
I'm
and
assuming
create-
that the fire marshal, seeing that you have some exits blocked, that.
Yes.
received Fire marshal
Yeah,
approval?
we do have fire marshal approval. There's an exit door that's going to be inside, or where the patio is. They have a glass enclosure around that. There's going to be a second means of ingress, egress.
So it meets whatever requirements.
Yes. Mhm. And it's accessible from the inside, so the spaces are open.
So the interior window treatment, is that used anyplace else? Or is it was done special for this?
It's special for that exterior.
Okay. So, some other way of shielding the, dining room area by use of curtains or shades or blinds or something else? Was that ever considered?
Oh.
How are you? Hi. So,
Yeah, get the,
Sorry.
use the microphone.
hi, everyone. Good
So,
evening.
and
My-
just
my
say your name.
Yes, my name is Chen, and then I'm the owner of the Galbi Korean restaurant.
Okay.
Um,
How you spelling your name?
CHEN as in Nancy.
Okay.
Okay,
Mhm.
so I'm here to explain like why we wanted this special of the material view for in the front of the block, the door glass, just in case the people and the in front of us have a many parking space all straight there. So we consider our design, that's material, and then the design is match our Korean style inside with the match and fashion, like you can get the authentic of the Korean style
So
restaurant.
something like this design is going to be on the inside.
Yeah, inside and outside
Okay.
too. So that's why, and then we can use the something like what is that? Like what is it, curtain something? But it's just like maybe it's cost like more easy and then more easy to finish. But we use this material is want to give the people good looking, and then they kind of experience to feel like Asian Korean style.
There are exhibits that we submitted. I'm not sure if you've seen them, but
No.
it
No,
will give you
those
an
so
idea of
far.
where this material was used and how it would look.
Oh, yeah, those pages I see. The other commissioners may not have.
Sometimes a
Yeah.
picture's worth 1,000 words.
So what's pictured, it's all like white ceramic.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then it's in the I think this is just like a sample to make it, but exactly it would be like that one, that on the screen.
So there's something on the other side of this.
Yes.
White.
White.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
It's the
All right.
windows.
Yep.
Good
So
say.
it's
How
this
does this
background
one-
This is the framework that it is up right now, that all.
So it wouldn't
that's-
be on the glass, it
No.
would be on, you're creating a new wall.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
outside. Okay, so this is where
I
it's
would,
used, a couple of applications. Go ahead, Commissioner Parkins.
so I'm a little confused. So this material, starburst or whatever you want to call them, is going to go on the outside on top of that wood frame that's already there. And it's also going to go on the inside. But what is in between the outside and the inside?
It appears in other, from what I understand, other parts of the dining room. But how is
it blocking the light?
Got a backing.
There's a backing that goes behind it.
So there's a back right behind this.
There's a back behind it.
Yeah.
So what they,
And then you're looking at, if you see the framework, if you look through the framework, you'll see that there's, you're looking at the backside of sheetrock right now, because there's
Right.
fully constructed walls on the inside of the restaurant, and then they have, those walls are covered with a wallpaper, an Asian themed wallpaper.
So you're
So-
encasing the existing glass, not taking it out.
Correct.
So the two doors
and the glass around it will be inside the wall.
Yes.
Mhm.
So you're sheet rocking where the windows are now, you're putting sheet rock over the windows. And then you're putting up this material.
It's already installed, so if you
Yeah,
look at
this-
the other photo that has the wood framing in front of
It's
it.
already installed. I don't know about you, any other commissioners, but I think there's a process here that's been missed.
This is inside, the sheetrock walls that are in that picture it's on the inside of the restaurant. And then
Which has
we have.
already been installed.
Right.
Yeah, but
Those
it's
walls have
not-
been put up because they've been remodeling the space
Exactly.
to meet their layout.
Nothing's been installed on the outside.
No, no.
Except the,
They're
2x4s.
basically filling up their space.
Yeah,
Right.
so now we have we have the inside wall, then we have the glass, then outside of the glass is the wooden
Framework.
2x4s framework.
Yeah.
And that's what these white ceramic blocks would be attached to. And while they show that there are openings in them, there is some kind of cover that would be on the backside against the window, so you can't look through and see the glass.
Right.
Okay?
That's the material.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, that's it there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
light.
okay.
All right.
This goes in front of here. And then there's lighting behind it through the.
They have some,
Oh, there's some light.
they have some
Accent
ambiance,
lighting.
backside.
Got it, got it, got it. Okay.
So
All right.
at nighttime, it'll glow similar to what was in the
So back
images.
to. this
Louis,
one.
Louis Vuitton.
Okay.
You can see the soft lighting behind the wall.
I don't
Oh.
understand that lighting, but.
Yeah, the down, the bottom
And
right
it's on the
corner.
bottom,
And the
Then
button.
it shoots up.
And the
Oh,
button.
so there's a space.
So
Somehow.
there's just
Yes.
some backlighting that'll shine through that material and
Mhm.
create.
It's translucent.
Yeah.
This translucent, yeah, so.
So it's on the
it'll
other
have
side
it-
of that
Yes.
board, okay.
Yeah,
So is that
You could put an idea.
Oh, I got
closed in on the outside?
Yeah, you-
So
Yeah.
my thing is, how do you keep
How'd you
it
do that?
clean behind?
Oh.
I should have not let her see it.
The Snapchat.
It
All
is
right.
totally inconsistent with the look of that shopping center. You know, we debated for hours on the color of the paint for Buffalo
Wait,
Wild
wait,
Wings
we got
because
two
it wouldn't.
commissioners talking at once. Okay, Commissioner Parkins, hold on to those thoughts. Commissioner Kelly.
Is there a space before the window? So if there is, if you have leaves or any, how do you keep the window clean? How do you keep everything clean in the back? Or do you not?
Well, you wouldn't clean the window, it would be sealed between,
Yes.
the materials. So that material would cover the wood framing. So theoretically, there wouldn't be any dirt or leaves that would get past that material.
The edges are sealed.
So it's like putting up a
No, I
petition.
know that, but
Yeah.
is there anything between that sheet and the window, the existing window?
No, so the what
Behind
they're
it.
No,
proposing.
okay.
It'd be an empty cavity.
Right. And the
And
glass
that's
will be-
closed in.
Right.
That's closed in.
Yeah, the
Yes.
awnings on top too.
All right, so now Commissioner Parkins, go ahead. You're next.
I was starting to say that we have given other applicants hard time regarding the color of their building, that it wasn't consistent with the rest of the PDD. And this is so inconsistent with the rest of this PDD. I could understand if it was a standalone building that they wanted this wonderful design, but this is PDD and it's not, it just doesn't conform with the rest of the design of the shopping plaza. So that's just my thoughts on it.
Okay.
You think back to when when Buffalo Wild Wings were coloring, the color of paint was the issue, that it matched the rest of the shopping center. So just my 2 cents.
In other words, other people would want to do the same throughout the complex.
Well,
What's to stop? Yeah.
Same, but
But
as
something
tenants come
sim-
in,
Yeah,
you changed your design standard
right.
for that particular building. So you've set a precedent and you're deviating from what you
Right.
had called for in the PDD. Commissioner Cristiano, did you have anything?
I don't particularly have a problem with it. I think, it's different, something we're not used to. but different isn't necessarily wrong. At some point in time, things change. It's a bold change for what we're used to. I'm sure there's other places where this is more common. You know, for someone else to come in and want to do something similar, you'd have to have this whole kind of theme. You know, my understanding, it's pretty elaborate inside this facility. You know, it goes with what they're doing inside. You know, sure, it's a significant investment. This is not, you know, they have existing windows there. You can do existing windows for nothing. I'm sure this project is costing a significant amount of money. So someone who wants to come in and do something like this has to really want to do it and make this change. So, you know, I'm open to it.
Okay, Commissioner,
Mr. Attorney Thomas? Can you hear me?
Attorney Thomas.
Yes, it is.
Oh, okay, I didn't know you were participating. What did you want to say?
I just wanted to point out, please, that this is a PDD. So you are not setting precedent with what you do for this entity. You don't set precedent for anybody else. I mean, and because it is a PDD, you can certainly, the reason this is before you is that they are asking for a modification of some fashion, a minor modification, as we have titled it, because they're just changing the front. But I want you to understand that you're not setting a precedent. So someone, Sugar Llama, couldn't come in and say, we want to put the same thing in there. You could say no.
Why would we say no?
Huh?
Why would we say no to them?
You could say no to them because it's a PDD, and you have the ability within the PDD to say no to them. Just like probably if somebody wanted a sign
Not
the size
logical.
of the Chick-fil-A thing, you don't have to give it to them, and you haven't given it to them. The Chick-fil-A sign is larger than anybody else's, and you know, the whatever you call it, the rooster, whatever, the chicken thing is larger. But you know, when people have come in and said to us, well, why can't we have the same sign? My response has been, because it's Chick-fil-A and the commission's probably not going to give it to you. And that's the issue of a PDD. But I just want you to understand, you're not, legally, there is no precedent setting in this situation. But, you know, you can make your own decisions, but I just want to make that one item clear. And my apologies for my phone not being silenced. Okay, sorry, that's all I have to say.
All right. Commissioner Motto?
Yeah, I think I agree with Rob in terms of, you know, something different. It's very fresh. I think it'll be pretty exciting. I might hate it. I don't know. It's hard to picture, but I think it'll be. And if the other neighbors are not objecting to it, the
Other neighbors don't have a say.
no, but I just you
Like we don't even know.
everybody
Somebody here.
happy. You know, the other tenants that are adjacent.
Why didn't you guys come to us before you started putting the studs up?
I think there was a misunderstanding in terms of the process.
Yeah.
So,
You shouldn't have a misunderstanding of
yeah,
the
but
process.
I didn't, this was done while I wasn't on site.
The studs?
But it wasn't done
Right.
overnight.
No,
It wasn't done overnight.
No, it wasn't, but we learned that there was a process, and then we're following it. That's why we're here.
Okay, Commissioner McGee, do you want to comment on this?
Yeah, I like the concept. And kind of to Commissioner Motto's point, if none of the, I mean, I know they don't have a say, but if no one is really objecting in the plaza, I like it.
How do they know? How do you know they know?
it's not up.
I mean, I think they can see the studs at this point. They see something's happening.
Well, I think it's presumptuous to assume that they have no concern with it, that they know about it and there's no concern.
I mean, if we want to
There
keep
may
the,
not be any concern, but I wouldn't presume that they know about it.
if we want to keep it open, I mean, I think that's fine too. If we think people Do you
This,
not know?
this is not a hearing.
Do we have to make a decision tonight?
This is not a hearing, so people don't have an opportunity to speak anyways. They wouldn't be notified. So it's a
Okay.
moot point.
Commissioner Kelly,
What?
did you have a comment, specific comment on this?
Nope.
Okay. It is not up to the commission, as far as I'm concerned, for us to correct something that an applicant does not do correctly. There is a procedure to follow, and you have to make sure that when you are involved in the project, you know the way that things have to be done. And we have indicated that before to other applicants that, you know, you put up a sign early. Well, there could be a problem with that. And unfortunately, as much as we always have prided ourselves to be business friendly in our town, throughout the whole town, something like this is a major deviation from what is approved. I think if you had come before us and had said, all right, this is the situation, I have a tenant and this is what they would like to do to because they're having problems, or they're concerned about headlights shining into their restaurant. Maybe we could have come up with something, but for all of this construction to have taken place, which affects the rest of the storefront, and now they have to come up with some manner of hiding the construction inside, does not sit well with me at all. I mean, it's a very unique kind of way of addressing it. But I'm also of the opinion that if this was a freestanding building, it could have worked out well. But I don't see this as being particularly attractive for the rest of the tenants. And I'm just not in favor of this at all. And I think there is other ways that that particular glass area could have been addressed. And to have these ceramic pieces on the outside, just to me, just is not appropriate at all. Okay.
Are we voting on? Do we
Is
vote?
is this a separate
Yeah, we have to.
contract with this vault facade up? Or is it part of your
Well,
contract?
it's not part of the landlord's work. That's why I didn't bring this to the commission. I wasn't aware that
No
this
one
was
talked
part,
to you
I wasn't
about
aware
this
that this was
before?
part of their design.
Yeah, but no one talked to you about this before?
No.
Yeah, they put this, yeah, as soon as we found out that the studs were up, as soon as I was notified, the application was filed back in March. We did it immediately, you know, that they had just put the studs up. They did not go any farther than that. And we immediately filed the minor modification application.
When a tenant comes in, you don't sit down with the tenant and get a lay of the land and find out what they plan to do. Where, you know, Crumble Cookies came in, you had no idea where they were going to put their kitchen, where they were going to put their counter. The liquor store came in, we had gyms down the way, Mercado, and all the stuff that they did.
The interior design is left up mostly to all intents and purposes to the there is some coordination with the landlord. The fact of where you're going to put a wall or where you're going to do that, there is some coordination, but you know, not normally. The situation, I'm not sure. I assume, you know, Galby, like all the tenants, are told you can't be putting up signs. You need to file a sign application. I get sign packages emailed to me now, so I can comment on them. And with that, just that the facade situation, you know, a lot of them believe that they can at least put their own signature. In this situation, once we saw that the studs were up, we immediately ceased the tenant's work and filed an application because the understanding was that was not going to be, it was something that required a minor modification application.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Any other comments from any of the commissioners?
I would just say, you know, there's two different, one is process and the other is the finish. You know, and I think we're here to look at finish.
It's a motion.
Mistakes were made, apparently. Miscommunication or misunderstanding. That's not what we're deciding.
They're seeking a minor modification to PDD number 91 for a facade change.
Right.
We have a facade that we expect across that entire building. And now they're asking to deviate from it.
Right.
So
And the way that they went about it was not
no,
perfect.
it wasn't.
But we're looking at
Right.
facade.
And I am looking at the facade.
And you don't like it.
No, No.
I'm open to it.
no. I don't think it particularly fits in with the overall look of the front of the building. And I tell you the truth, I think the white ceramic clashes greatly with the nice stone stacking and
Well,
colors.
It will be striking.
All right, so the applicant,
Yeah.
okay, go ahead.
I miss, so sorry about it. So
No.
the reason why, because the color
Mm-hmm.
material, you can keep into scrolling our inside design.
Mhm.
It's, I think it's really nice and then can express more about like,
Pass it around.
this is
Here you
the
go.
inside.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the,
That's how it looks from the inside. That's how it would look from the inside.
that's the exact same.
Inside, yeah.
That's
And the outside, that's why before we were different, but we want to spend more money because we want to match everything, get a good
Why is
looking.
the
Yeah.
design looks a little different? Is it the same pattern?
Is that existing?
Yes, like this.
So is that what the inside wall looks like?
Yes, inside, this is gonna be inside the build already done. So this is gonna, we wanted to match, and then this outside gonna be like a modern.
Is there any way of taking this and putting it on the inside of the glass?
Inside, that gonna be,
This is already there.
yeah, this is already
Yeah,
built.
but that's not on the inside of the glass, is
Yeah,
it?
this.
Is that on the other
inside
side of
building.
the,
It's on the
The
inside.
wall?
It's on the interior. It's a feature inside
Right.
the restaurant.
Inside the restaurant,
not-
not
not
inside the
behind that wall.
glass.
right, not behind that
Right
one.
behind the
No.
glass. But is there any
No,
way
it's
of
not.
taking this and putting it inside?
I don't know.
Because that way you would have a full window, so it
Right.
doesn't look all of a sudden there's a change.
Right, that's
You
why
would
I'm
still have the-
asking.
So,
Yeah,
I mean, I do feel sorry.
so
but,
if you
here you go.
The walls are.
Thank
reverse this and just leave the glass the way it is and put that on the other side, does that work?
That's what I'm asking.
So it's
that-
removing,
Does that solve your problem?
They'd have to move all of the studs further into the space to allow for that material to be
Right,
installed. And they
Well,
have the
it's-
wall, they have a big mural that was brought here from overseas. And I don't know if that could be,
moved over.
that's, it's their space, it's their investment, so I can't help with that.
the existing walls that were put up. And they'd be moved into the restaurant to allow that panel to go on the unfinished side with the block so that it's inside the
That's
window.
what we're asking. That's what
Yeah.
he's saying.
They'd have to see if it impacts any of the layout and space requirements.
Yeah, maybe a catch-22 of everything may have to keep going back.
Was it done?
Since you have to disassemble the wall.
Yeah, there's a mural
Yeah.
attached to
And
the.
I don't necessarily,
restaurant.
look across these buildings in this plaza and stand back several hundred feet and say, this is gonna overly disrupt the flow of, I don't know who looks back at a plaza and says, this is aesthetically pleasing anymore. They're looking at it, this business is here, this business is here, this business is here. I don't know how much a break in the facade makes that much of a difference. in my opinion.
Well, it might make it a little more interesting.
Could be, you're absolutely right.
That's what
you
they're
know?
trying to
Yeah,
create
we
is
want
a.
trying to make it beautiful and make it good looking.
Well, you're right, because a lot of the patios are all different.
Right. I mean, I wasn't all for the the addition of the patio there, and that changes the makeup of the
What is gonna happen with the exterior of the patio? Is that gonna just say glass?
They have more parts and pieces on the way. So
Mhm.
there's roll-up screens and there's a
Right.
covering on the roof that is
Mhm.
retractable. So those are not installed yet. So
Mhm.
But it is a patio, it's opened to the.
It's, I mean, no, it's
it'll have
enclosed.
some, yeah, it'll have openings for, the warmer.
I mean, I think there's a reality is, when you look at the plaza, Chick-fil-A is different. Then what's that new place, Cava?
Kava, yep.
That's different. Panera's different,
Panera's different,
right?
totally different.
Those are
Trader
freestanding.
Joe's, but again, you're looking at the whole plaza.
Right.
I don't know if anyone's looking at a single building. It's not a single freestanding building in a separate, in my opinion, in a separate lot, right? It's still a plaza. I don't know if anyone looks at a like a long building and says, these 8 stores have to look exactly the same. I don't know if
That was the
different. And maybe-
reason why we had the applicant at least 2-3 years ago come in with their way that the building was gonna look.
I understand.
For retail one.
No, I understand that, and I think, but clearly exceptions get made over time, right? I'm sure the intention wasn't to make exceptions to let Chick-fil-A look like they were looking in that plaza, but I'm sure exceptions were made, right? Maybe because of.
How's Chick-fil-A looking? We
Well,
made
it's
them
pretty
change the
unique.
colors
Oh,
at Chick-fil-A.
It's,
We had
it
they
doesn't,
came in with a different one and
doesn't-
then changed.
doesn't necessarily mesh with the rest of the plaza.
The Chick-fil-A original design was not like that.
Well, anyway, I don't,
How do you keep this clean now? How,
It's very.
Just get a motion on the table.
I know.
This is going on way too long.
answer that question?
Okay, so this is you see like it's very smooth, right? This is like very simple of the even like a bounty, the paper, and then this is like when you even like the raining or just like it's not gonna stay in there for the coming old. So that's why we choose the good material.
Okay.
So it can be a beautiful look if when you whole thing gonna build up. So we try to bring a good attraction of the eyes, so make the whole plaza be like a good high end.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Windex would probably work.
Yeah.
I'll put a motion to approve.
a second.
All right, so there's a motion to approve the minor modification for application 2504 from Commissioner Cristiano, and there was a second from Commissioner Amato. So on the motion to typo. I'll do a roll call vote. Commissioner Parkins,
Nay.
your nay to deny. Commissioner Kelly?
No, yes. The,
Yeah,
the,
you're
the motion on the table is to approve it.
approved. The
I
minor
am voting nay to approve, to not approve.
Right, exactly.
Thank
All
you.
right. Commissioner Kelly?
I'm going to approve it.
You don't have to give reasons. You just.
I will.
Okay.
I will give a reason. What Attorney Thomas said, as long as we can use it as a PDD and have to approve anything else that comes along that wants, to change the facade of the windows, whatever. So I will approve this.
All right, Commissioner Cristiano,
Aye.
Commissioner Motto,
Aye.
Commissioner McGee.
Aye.
Okay, the chair votes nay. Motion has passed by a vote of 4-2. And seeing that there's no other item on the agenda, Chair declares this evening's meeting is adjourned as of 8:10 PM. Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Good night.